Welcome back to the Healing Room, where the topic of conversation tonight is forgive and forget. That meditation we just did with the open heart reminds me of a painting I have in my healing room of Jesus with his hand, with his heart in his hand. And I get to see that on a daily basis. And it's always a reminder to wear my heart on my sleeve, to lead in life with my heart, which is not always easy because there's a fear sometimes from the ego personality of being harmed, being betrayed, all these things that can happen that harden our hearts. But a broken heart is a wonderful thing to walk in the world with because then it can receive more and more versus a protective heart, which is contracted, right? It's constricted, it's walled off, so it can't receive. So it's such an appropriate image for tonight's topic of forgiveness and forgetting. There's a poet named Alexander Pope who wrote the words, "To err is human, to forgive divine." And they're such wise words because we're all in this world together, right? We're all on this human journey and we've all made mistakes, right? We've all sinned, which means to miss the mark. And so to hold on to that which was perpetuates that which was and keeps us in the past. To forgive and forget allows us to live fully in this present moment. So it's a divine act to forgive because it moves us from this realm of duality, right? Maya, the illusion, the realm of otherness to the place of unity consciousness, back to oneness. Because when we forgive, we acknowledge about whatever it was, whoever it was, whatever the situation was, we acknowledge that I too have made mistakes. And so in forgiving the other, I'm actually forgiving myself. Because there is no other in this world. When we worked with the seven contemplations, the second one says there is no outside. So if there's no outside, whatever is supposedly external is actually reflecting what's internal. So if I forgive the external and I'm looking into a mirror, then I'm actually forgiving myself. If I hold on to what was, then I'm the one who suffers. I'm the one who is losing energy by keeping that memory, that story, that narrative alive. At some point, I have to integrate the experience, absorb it, ingest it, transform it. And that's what forgiveness is. It is one of the greatest spiritual tools of transformation because it goes beyond this time and space, as I've discussed in other healing rooms. We have been in this world so many times in different forms, different bodies, different experiences. We've been everything: positive, negative, good, bad, right, wrong. We've been the victim, we've been the victimizer. So if that's the case, which I believe it is, then when I forgive, I am incorporating all of my past experiences in the present moment. I'm absorbing the past through the tool of forgiveness in this moment. It doesn't mean I understand anything of why something happened. The intellect is not part of this experience of forgiveness because the intellect wants to understand. It wants to know why. It wants someone to take responsibility. It wants someone to apologize. But we have to go beyond all of that and drop into the heart, which says, I forgive you for forgiveness' sake. I don't need to understand. I simply forgive you. And it's a high soul state, forgiveness. It's a high spiritual state to truly be able to forgive and forget. The forget part is to not cogitate over it, to not, to not dig up the past and regurgitate it. Because then we are feeding it, then we are perpetuating it. We want all the threads connected to whatever the experience was, whatever the person was, integrated. And we know we've integrated that past because it no longer occupies the mind. So I have had this experience, and this is how I know it's the case, because I have many stories of what I think or believe was done to me when I was younger, and had many stories of victimhood. And I would just replay it over and over again until I was ready to give up the story. And then once I performed the cutting cords meditation, which we've talked about as well. And then that meditation completed the experience. And then I had no more thoughts of that experience and no more negative thoughts, even of the person. So that's how we know we are complete. We are not perpetuating thought processes. We are simply in the present moment. And so more and more, that is our work. Whatever it is that can bring us back to this present moment is the spiritual tool we're interested in. Because that's all that's real is this present moment. Everything else takes us out of it. And Maya, this maze that we're in of Maya, the illusion, she wants to keep that going. The fighting, the against, the back and forth, because that feeds the machine of Maya. So, but once we step out of it, and forgiveness is one of those ways, it's one of the doorways, the exit strategies out of the maze of Maya. Forgiveness is one of those doorways. And so more and more, we want to spend less time in duality and more time in unity consciousness, what I call the new paradigm, which again is not a new paradigm. It's simply a new paradigm compared to this old one we've been living for so long. But in reality, it's simply a different frequency of energy, heart-centered, love, unconditional love, acceptance, non-judgment, forgiveness, all those positive soul qualities. We cultivate that, and then we exist in the new paradigm. So the ego personality may resist because it says, if I forgive, that I'm letting that person off the hook. I am saying that what they did was okay. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with the act or action when we forgive. It can be something terrible to something very basic. It's all the same. Forgiveness is forgiveness. Once again, we're acknowledging that I am everything in existence. There's nothing that I am not in existence. In the physical realm, I have every germ, bacteria, pathogen in this body. In the emotional realm, I have every emotion in this body, every thought, every behavior is inside this being. I am a microcosm of the macrocosm. So there is nothing that is out there that is not in here. So there is nothing too difficult or challenging to forgive. Nothing. We just have to find the way to forgive. If we're having resistance to it, we keep working on it. Because it's not a knee-jerk reaction. It's not a spiritual bypass, forgiveness. It is sitting with all of it, all the feelings, all the sensations in the physical body, in the water body, right? In the emotions, in the subtle body. We sit with all of it and we are honest about our feelings. We're present with our feelings. And then when we are complete, we get to forgive, not as an intellectual act, but as a heart-centered action process. I have a few quotes here on forgiveness. A life lived without forgiveness is a prison. William Arthur Ward. Hating someone makes them important. Forgiving them makes them obsolete. I like that one. That's unknown. Hating someone makes them important. Forgiving them makes them obsolete. Once again, when you are directing an energy like hatred towards someone, you're giving them energy. You're giving them your energy. But if you forgive them, you've cut all the cords. Your energy is maintained within your own being. You're a slave to everyone you haven't forgiven. Lawrence King. It is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. Francis of Assisi. A noble spirit finds a cure for injustice in forgetting it. A noble spirit finds a cure for injustice in forgetting it. Publius Syrus. Those who are free of resentful thoughts surely find peace. That's the Buddha. Forgiveness is man's deepest need and highest achievement. Forgiveness is man's deepest need and highest achievement. Horace Bushnell. That's very significant. Highest achievement and deepest need. That's one to contemplate. To be wronged is nothing unless you continue to remember it. To be wronged is nothing unless you continue to remember it. Confucius. The simple truth is we all make mistakes and we all need forgiveness. Desmond Tutu. Your ego is not ready to forgive, but your soul is. Maxime Legacy. Forgive others, not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. Mel Robbins. Until we can forgive, we remain locked in our pain and locked out of possibility of experiencing healing and freedom. Until we can forgive, we remain locked in our pain and locked out of the possibility of experiencing healing and freedom. Desmond Tutu. It's one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself to forgive. Forgive everybody. Maya Angelou. We must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love. There is some good in the worst of us and some evil in the best of us. Martin Luther King Jr. Forgiveness is just another name for freedom. Byron Katie. Forgiveness is an act of self-love. Don Miguel Ruiz. Forgiveness isn't approving what happened, it's choosing to rise above it. Robin Sharma. The practice of forgiveness is our most important contribution to the healing of the world. Marianne Williamson. Guilt, regret, resentment, sadness, and all forms of non-forgiveness are caused by too much past and not enough presence. Eckhart Tolle. Forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could have been different. It's accepting the past for what it was and using this moment and this time to help you move yourself forward. Oprah Winfrey. And last, forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. Forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. Mark Twain.